Hello, welcome to Nothing and Everything. I don't have a theme song.
I thought you did.
Yeah, we do. Oh yeah, Kyle's here.
I'm Kyle. I'm here today.
So Kyle, we have a surprise topic that I haven't told you about.
What are we? Is this live right now, or?
I mean, technically we're recording it, so it's not live. But yes, we are recording. This is going to be part of the podcast.
Well, the computer screen looks different than when we. I
changed the program. That's why.
Okay.
I just made it like this, so it's easier for me to actually check the levels, so it doesn't sound bad when we're actually recording or when it goes live. So I'm keeping a closer eye on it.
Oh, okay.
Not that anyone gives a shit about any of this. So Kyle, here's our topic. Since it is the first day of 2020, welcome to 2020.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm very prepared to write the wrong date on everything.
For the next
3 weeks.
Yeah. Kyle, our topic of conversation is we've been friends for 10 years. We've been friends for longer than 10 years. We're going to talk about our friendship. Well, not really our friendship, but we're going to talk about moments that we've had that you're like, what?
Oh, man.
So basically we're going to get into high school.
Oh, gosh.
But I do have a question for you that I heard on another podcast, and I'm wondering what you think. Also, this is NSFW. If you're listening to this out loud, so get your kids out of the room. This is a real question that I heard on another podcast. I do want to ask Kyle. Kyle, I have a question for you. Would you, or would you not, suck Santa's dick for him to be real?
But wait a minute, if he's already
not
real...
No, I'm just telling you.
Whose dick would I be sucking? Just
an
some
old man?
Just some homeless
no,
dude
it'd be like a good guy, like a mall Santa who's genuinely a good-hearted man. But if you suck his dick, he turns into real Santa. You know how many people's lives you would make better by doing that one act? Would you do it? Would you?
No, because I would be condemning that man to basically virtually a life of slavery. Let's just do some quick math here. How many Christians are there in the world? Roughly in the ballpark of 1 billion.
I think there's more than 1 billion.
So Santa has to somehow find a way to deliver, or to make and deliver, in excess of 1 billion presents every year. Most of the time, presents that are super high tech, like iPads and iPhones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he's going to need some kind of engineering degree, be proficient in it enough to teach the elves, assuming he even has elves, because in the scenario I would only be making Santa Claus real.
No. A part of this fellatiation, the fellatiation initiation is what I'd like to call it. I'm coining that term. Elves are part of this gig.
Okay, so he needs to be proficient enough in those skills to teach elves how to make iPads and iPhones and stuff. And also in engineering and architecture, because if they want to build toy houses or, I don't know, Transformers or something like that, this man would be busy 100% of the time. He would lose all of his body weight in less than 3 weeks from all the stress. So no, I would not.
I would. That's my answer. Okay. I'm not getting into that anymore, but I would. 100%. You can put that on the record. So, you know how a lot of holidays have a mascot or a mythical creature, like the Easter Bunny or Santa or St. Patrick?
Okay.
I know St. Patrick was also a real person, but I guess he's a leprechaun now because of culture or something. What do you think the New Year's creature would be?
Well, they already have one. It's the baby. It's a baby, in a diaper, because, it's a new year. So
is it actually?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the New Year's Orc, and here's why. I'm making up a new one. His name is the New Year's Orc, and it's because everyone on New Year's is a shithead, and everyone goes out drinking, and the next day they're hungover and monsters. So the New Year's Orc takes everyone from the old year, when they're jolly off of Christmas, gets them real drunk on grog, and then the next day they're all hungover, and the New Year's Orc rejoices.
I was thinking, or it could be Dionysus, the Greek god of partying.
With the New Year's Orc.
Yeah, with the New Year's Orc. Yeah. Well, you know how, for Christmas, it's Santa Claus and Jesus? Well, for New Year's Eve, it would be, the New Year's Orc would be, the Messiah, and then Dionysus would be the god that, created the Messiah.
So, next year, just remember, the New Year's Orc is coming for you. Also, so I was trying to explain to my girlfriend, who just has a different background than me, that Jesus killed all the dinosaurs, and she didn't believe me.
Well, not only did he do that, but did you know that Jesus and Moses used guns to conquer the Romans?
Yeah, I actually did know that. And yeah, so
I really hope Seth MacFarlane is not listening to this so that he doesn't sue me.
Sue Kyle, not me, please. I don't have many assets. Don't take my computers. Or my testicles.
Right.
Did you know that's how chimps... Did you know how that's how chimps kill you?
By ripping off your balls?
Yeah. No, because in nature, chimps know that that's the way to make more chimps.
Oh,
so they'll rip your balls off so you can't reproduce. And then they rip your head off. But, like, that's a real thing. When chimps attack you, the first thing they'll go for is your balls.
Well, that's about as interesting as that time when we researched that bears plug up their asshole with dirt during hibernation.
I think okay, this is going to get into high school stuff now.
Segue.
There's no segue. So there's a class that Kyle and I had in high school, and we're going to call this teacher Dr.
McGuffin.
Dr. McGuffin. Yeah, Dr. McGuffin. This was our senior year. This was a 0-hour class. And for those of you who don't know what a 0-hour class is, so Brother Rice, the high school we went to, started at like 8:30, right?
Mm-hmm. A 0-hour class is a class that starts
before school
starts.
So it starts at like 7:45.
Yeah.
So we got to school early, and it was supposed to be for like this AP style anatomy class taught by an actual doctor.
Well, it wasn't AP. It was technically for our senior year we got to decide which type of science we could learn. It was like either physics, some kind of like maybe like AP chemistry or something.
Physics, chemistry, bio, and then computer science, because I took both.
Okay, so for seniors, the three choices, because like in freshman year was biology, sophomore year was biology, junior year was chemistry, and then senior year was your choice. And the choices were anatomy, physics, and then probably like computer science, like you said. But yeah, so it was an anatomy class taught by a volunteer who was an actual like surgeon at a nearby hospital.
Yeah, and so my mom had come in. My mom and dad are doctors. Hi, Mom and Dad. I know you listen to this. And I think my mom volunteered to teach something or do like a sex ed thing because my mom's the sex ed doc professional. If you have any questions on that, email me. For real, hit me up.
If you need me to talk about the birds and your bees to your kids, hit up Uncle Russ.
Yeah, hit up Uncle Russ. Because I'll give him the talk.
It might not be the talk you would give him, but it will be a talk.
Yeah, you just have to slip a water balloon onto a banana. That's how it works. Don't be a fool, Raptor Tool. So yeah, Doc McGrail. Oh fuck. I guess we're keeping his name in there.
No, we just gotta bleep it out in post edit.
I'm not post. Yeah, we're gonna bleep that out. Don't worry. So Dr. McGuffin.
Yeah, Dr. McGuffin.
Yeah, I'm not bleeping that out from earlier. That's not happening. So Dr. McGuffin, he started the year off pretty solid, I'd say. Where we actually did a lot of stuff where we did labs. We had like bones and like kind of like a dissection sort of thing.
Yeah, we didn't really have labs per se. Like we didn't like ever do any kind of like dissection. We did all of the like dissecting work was just done in like biology.
But we had like the models brought in.
Yeah, and like we had to like work with models of whatever body part we were learning about that day.
And it was pretty much, there's one member of our friend group, a really tight friend group, who wasn't in the class because he took the legit bio class, and we didn't really realize.
He was on the show.
So we haven't uploaded it.
Oh, right, that's right.
So Dick was on the show, but we haven't uploaded his episode, and we'll reveal his real name later. But, so he was the one person in our really tight friend group who wasn't in it. He was in the other bio class.
Well, technically he was, but the very first day the principal came by and said, hey, the other anatomy class doesn't have enough students. Is there anyone who would like to transfer to it?
Yeah.
And we already kind of heard rumors about Dr. McGuffin's reputation, and so Nick was like, I want to actually
learn.
Oh crap, I said his name too.
It's fine. So
anyway, and so this person, Dick, no, his name is Dick. He's not a Dick.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dick is like, I actually want to learn anatomy, so I'm going to go to the anatomy class. And you know what? That probably worked out for the best because he actually does work in a hospital. Like,
yeah, he's like a medical student now.
Yeah, and not. It's not that he just works at a hospital. He works in a level 1 trauma center. So, like, you know, all those, like, crazy medical shows where the people are, like, running around, like, screaming, this person's dying.
That's what he does.
That's kind of what he's not actually, he doesn't actually have a doctorate, but he's a part of the team who works in, like, those level 1 traumas, like, where he sees gunshot wounds.
Yeah.
And, all the really nasty
icky stuff.
Yeah.
Icky stuff that would make me faint because I faint at the sight of blood. So he took the real anatomy class, and good for him because it worked out for the best. But myself, Kyle, Tyler, who is another one of our friends, and Tom, those are their real names. We're not going to talk shit about them. But
not today.
Not today. Actually, we might. So they were in the class, and it started off really solid, I think. And then I think probably I'd say 3 weeks in, there was a day where Dr. McGuffin didn't show up. And we're like...
For the entire hour and 15-minute class.
Yeah, and you know, in college, the 15-minute rule, if the professor's not there, you give them 15 minutes and then you're allowed to leave. Which is like an unstated actual sort of rule. Or if they're not there for 20 minutes, you're like, okay, well, 1/4 of the class to 1/5 of the class is over. Like, what? This isn't cool. So we literally just sat in a classroom.
Because we had nowhere else to go. If it was the last class of the day, we could
probably go home.
Gone home, but...
We were just sitting in this room, and then I remember one of the deans, Doc, we'll just call him Doc, walked in and is like, oh yeah, your teacher's not here, just go to the library, cafeteria or something until school starts. But yeah, sorry about that.
And so Doc McGuffin was he was a big doctor, like a surgeon. So we probably figured, oh, okay, he got an emergency. You know, someone, I don't know, blew out their anus, and he has to, remodel someone's ruptured rectum or something like that.
Yeah. I think he was a neurosurgeon, so that'd be a really bad anal blowout if it hurt your brain. But so we were like, okay, that's understandable. And then I remember he showed up again the next day, and it was normal. So it was probably normal like that for another few weeks. And then the not showing up did continue. And then there's also this trend of not doing anything.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that he technically speaking did show up, but he would always show up 30 minutes after class started.
Yeah, and then there was the classic expression that Kyle and I still use to this day. There was a day we were just on our phones, and this is kind of when smartphones sort of started becoming a thing in 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
Where he's like, if you guys don't shut the fuck up, we're going to learn today.
Yeah.
And then all of us went really quiet.
Yeah, because
he was
he was just browsing. No, he wasn't working on anything. He was just browsing on his iPad.
Yeah. So that was the classic statement for that class is, if you guys don't shut the fuck up, we're going to learn something. And here's the part that gets a little sad. So there's a member of our class who actually passed away last year. His name is John Petty.
Yeah, he was on the...
Yeah, he was in our class. There was a day where he took his penis out in class and tried running up and slapping people in the face with it because, we were productive. And then, you remember he tripped with his dick out? And then I just remember Doc McGuffin was like, Petty, shut the fuck up. That's all. That's the only response we got. We're like, huh.
And what he did one time is, I don't know, so as time went on, me, Russell, and then our, other two friends, we weren't the class clowns or anything, but we were definitely that one group of the class where those four dudes are pretty tight, and and we wouldn't get picked at necessarily, but we would be I don't know, referred to or something like that.
Yeah, because people knew we were always together.
Yeah, and so so this person, God rest his soul, John Petty, he took part in one of the, just referencing us, kind of making a little joke at us.
Yeah.
And I do some kind of comeback myself. I don't know what I said, but his retort was him standing up and at the top of his lungs screaming, "Yeah, you know what, Kyle? Me and your grandma."
Yeah, that's all he said. And
that I shut the fuck up real quick.
Yeah, you're like, damn, he got me. he had done got me on that one.
He got me on that one.
And there's a student, we actually won't say his name. We're going to call him Mark. Showed up really late. He showed up later than Dr. McGuffin. And he wore Crocs to school. And let's note that Brother Rice has a a dress code. And Crocs
like you have to wear like a shirt and tie kind of dress code.
Yeah, like it's an all guys Catholic school. So it is what you think. So it's prison. So there's a dress code and you're not supposed to wear Crocs. So Mark showed up and there was one time we were just like doing nothing in class, obviously. And then this kid walks in, and I'm not going to use the actual word he said because I don't want to offend anyone who may be listening or has members of their family who have mental disabilities, but it's the R word, and he literally looks at Mark and is like, "Are you blank?" in front of everybody, and this kid just looks at him, and he's like, "No, I asked you a question. Is there a reason you show up late, or were you born this way?" And like, we're all like that, and then like someone starts laughing, and this kid's last name, we'll just say, is, like, Shannon. He's like, "Shannon, shut the fuck up." Yeah. When he started laughing. And we're all like, what just happened in this class?
No, but the thing was, it wasn't like, "Shannon, shut the fuck up." It was, "Shannon, shut the fuck up."
Yeah. And that was, like, a moment that will stick with me forever from high school. That, and then, there's a day where Dr. McGuffin legitimately did not want to teach. And he's like, "Do you guys want to watch a movie?" And we watched Hot Rod.
Yeah, on Netflix.
And then he's like, "How does this have to do with anatomy?" And they said the word skull.
Like,
they said skull.
Yeah, precisely at that moment. He's like, "Hey, they said skull.
It's anatomy."
And then he goes, "Yeah, all right, it sounds fair."
Yeah. And then that was a class.
Oh my god.
So there was another class that we have, and I actually love. It was our psychology professor or teacher who I genuinely love. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, we'll call him Mr. Dudley.
Yeah, Mr. Dudley. He's a really great teacher. I don't know if he listens to this or not. Maybe. But there was a day that I remember I had broken my arm my senior year sailing. I like crushed my arm in a sailing accident at a regatta, and I was I had a free period. So I was, like, helping out, and I couldn't really do most of the stuff. So I was running, like, notes around the school for, like, some of the teachers because I couldn't do anything else because that was my writing arm that was broken. And this teacher, Mr. Dudley, was like, I was out the day before, and he's like, "Hey, in class today, we're going to have a very serious talk. When I'm referring to the class, I'm not referring to you because you were not here, and you do not know what happened." And him and his son also had the same free period as me. His son was like a really eccentric kid, really nice kid. He actually sat next to me in computer science. And I actually don't remember his first name, but
it doesn't matter. We're not going to say it anyway.
But so his son, and he talked to me for a little bit about what had happened the day before, and I was like, "Oh man, that's wild." And that's like kind of the only response I had. I'm like, "Damn, I'm sorry. That's bonkers." And so Kyle can fill you in on what actually happened because I was not at school that day. Because I was at the doctor for my arm.
Okay, so we had it was like an assembly. It was assembly during school, and the idea was that the band wanted our school band was performing for the school. I don't know. I think they might have like won some kind of competition, and so they were kind of like showing off what they played to the students who like most likely didn't actually attend the performance of wherever competition they were at. And the band also, like, they performed alongside our choir.
Oh, I'm going to snooze that. There we go. Sorry, you guys probably heard that. So they performed alongside the choir.
So they performed alongside the choir, and then now that I think back on it, it was a combined effort that they won. And Mr. Dudley's son was a member of this choir. And there was another student who I'm going to call
Alan.
Alan, yeah. And so Alan was he was the weird kid, I would say.
Super nice kid.
But
he's just like the goofball.
Yeah, he's kind of the goofball. He was very he was socially awkward.
He was the kid, if you've ever seen Superbad, he was McLovin.
Yeah.
He was literally, like, he was actually McLovin.
Yeah, and so he would often, first of all, he did have a bit of a okay, I'm going to start over. He did have a bit of a temper problem, and so sometimes, if he felt like he was being made fun of, he would freak out, and so as a result, he unfortunately became the butt of a lot of jokes in our school. But conversely, though, he, like McLovin, would do things that
are just so out of left field.
Yeah, like he would do very goofy things with the intent of, being entertaining or being liked or something like that. And so one day, the band starts playing a song that it did not require the choir, and it was a very like upbeat and like awesome song. And so this person, Alan, got up and started doing a very goofy dance, and the entire school started cheering him on. But
to be fair, he was actually, I was not there for this, but he was in my music theory class, and he danced a few times. He was actually an okay dancer, which is part of this.
Yeah. And I am going to go full disclosure, and as an adult, I'm ashamed to say, but I did partake in such activities. So, Alan, if you're listening to this and you know who we are and you know who we're talking about, I deeply apologize, and I'm being sincere about that. I really am.
And I know what the situation was. I can't really talk about because I wasn't there. But yeah, so this happened, and Mr. Dudley's son was also...
Yeah, Mr. Dudley's son joined Alan in this because he wasn't exactly the same, but he had a very similar...
Just very eccentric personality.
And so the entire school was cheering them on, but, the intent was quite clearly making fun of them.
Not egging... Not
actually encouraging them, but like how, look at this,
look at this silliness, but not like, oh, good for you.
Yeah. And so Mr. Dudley, very understandably, got really pissed off about that.
Yeah. And this is where I come into it, where the next day, after this had all happened, I was sitting in, the area where, you're just running notes for the teachers, and you're just doing other stuff, because, it's a free period where you also can, tutor kids and help them. But since I had a broken arm, they're just like, you know what, you're going to be our mole today. You're essentially just going to do stuff for us. And I'm like, okay, that's totally fine. I don't mind. And so Mr. Dudley came up to me and talked to me. He's like, hey, in class later, this is about to happen. I'm not talking about you. And his son came and explained what had happened. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's whack. And I just remember I was sitting... Kyle sat behind me in that class, diagonally behind me. I sat fairly close to the front.
I sat in the exact back corner of that. Yeah. I could put both of my arms on both walls.
So Kyle and I were opposite diagonally of each other. So I was near the door, and Kyle was in the other corner. And so he walks in and his desk is kind of in front of me. So I'm one of the first people. And I remember he put his arms down on my desk, and I'm like, okay, this is probably what we're building up towards. I don't know if this is a bad thing or what we're about to go through. And then Mr. Dudley said...
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I feel like you all fucked me in the ass today. It didn't happen the next day. It happened the same day. I feel like you all fucked me in the ass today.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where I was like, oh shit, this is what he was talking about. And I had never seen someone get so pissed off in my entire life.
Well, I don't blame him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, people are making fun of his son, and he's a very high up teacher at the school, and a teacher there for ages.
He was head of one of the departments.
Yeah, he's
still might be. Yeah,
he is. He lost a bunch of weight. Good for you.
Yeah.
And no, I definitely totally understand that. But yeah, that was another high school moment. And then
that was
really a big intense moment.
Yeah.
And then I think something just about high school, and we'll talk about how Kyle and I met after this, and how we met each other.
It's not that big of a...
But we met at lunch.
Yeah.
We met at a lunch table, sitting next to Eric Cartman.
Oh, God, yeah, life Eric Cartman.
There was a character. I'm not calling him a student. There was a character.
And we're just going to actually call him Eric Cartman.
Yeah, who looked sounded and acted exactly like Eric Cartman.
And the thing is, though, is that it wasn't that, like, you know, he just so happened to behave like Eric Cartman. I think he saw South Park, loved it so much that he intentionally molded his own personality to resemble that of Eric Cartman.
Yeah, honestly, I agree, because holy shit.
Oh my, yeah, like he was...
It was literally me, you, Vince, who actually goes to DePaul. I've seen him on campus.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, as a grad student. I've seen him around. Super nice kid. I said hi to him. He looks exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And then, fucking Eric Cartman.
Yeah.
And this kid, if you've ever known someone with a personality that's nails on a chalkboard, this kid. I don't know how you get off on being that fucking aggravating all the time. Like, he would just, like, come up and, like, okay.
And instigating, too.
Instigating. Like, Kyle and I'd be eating, like, pizza. They had, like, Giordano's pizza or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Pizza on Thursdays. And we would just be sitting there eating pizza, talking about, like, Star Wars. The same stuff we talk about on here. We'd just be talking about Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or comics or movies or video games, whatever. And then he'd just come up and be like, "Sup, losers?" Yeah. And we'd just be like... Except he didn't say losers. He said the, like, F word referring to gay people that I'm not going to say on the podcast because that's a very offensive word. But he's like, "Sup, losers?" And we're just like, dude, like, in high school, I didn't really work out. I hadn't, like, got into the gym phase, but I was still probably 6'1" in high school, not, like, 6'4". And, like, and Kyle's, like, a fairly, like, tall kid as well. This kid is shorter than both of us. And we're like, what are you doing? Like,
but he's also, like, 3 times our weight, though.
Yeah, this kid was... And we're not, like, body shaming him. This kid was one of those, like, yeah, he's like, I'm just, like, hot shit. I get all the girls, all the stuff. We're like,
yeah,
dude, no, you don't. You're literally the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you can be overweight. You can be a big husky daddy and get all the girls if you're a nice guy. That's a thing. You can be a big, thick daddy. And, like, women love that. Rick Ross. Or, like, Action Bronson, for 2 examples. But, like... This kid is just such a prick. And, like, even when he posts stuff on Facebook now, I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Then...
I actually have a little... This isn't about him. This is actually, like, one of the first conversations you and I ever had. So, I was back then, and I still am, but not at a higher... But not as intense of a frequency, a big Assassin's Creed fan.
Yeah.
And so, the year that you and I, like, started hanging out, well, not hanging out, but, like, associating with one another, I think, like, Assassin's Creed 2 came out, or, like, maybe, like, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was about to come out.
I think Brotherhood was
okay, and as a result, people were, like, kind of reminiscing, like, oh, yeah, I can't wait for this new game. The last game was so awesome.
Yeah.
And me, personally, I had only, like, just played Assassin's Creed 2, and I was, like, super psyched, because I really, really liked it. And for those of you who don't know, in that game, there is a side quest where you have to go around, like, the map, find these, I don't know, like, symbols or glyphs, and then do a little puzzle, and like and not like, you know, like you have to climb up this building, figure out how to do it kind of puzzle, like an actual, like, you know, quote unquote code breaking puzzle.
Yeah.
And the idea is that if you got all 20 of these puzzles, if you found and decrypted, quote unquote decrypted these puzzles, then you would get, like, an audio file or something, or a video file that would in some way spoil the ending of that game.
Yeah.
And so they were called, like, the Subject 16's puzzles or something like that. And so I was talking to you about this, maybe, I don't know, a few weeks into the first semester of sophomore year, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I really love that game. And then you go, yeah, I really like that game, too. I go, yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble finding the Subject 16 puzzles. Do you have any idea where they are? He goes, no, I don't, because I have a life.
Yeah, it's like, dude, what? It's like, yeah, and it's like, clearly Kyle and I were talking about this, like, actually being fans. Being like, dude, I literally do not know where this is either. Like, I've been playing the same thing, and it's like, we're both stuck. And this kid's just like, yeah, losers. And we're like, dude,
Well, that is literally the worst game ever.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And
like, you could have not have picked a worse game to mention ever.
Yeah, and Brother Rice actually was pretty good about not, like, bullying kids, because there was, like, not really any cliques at Brother Rice. Like, everyone kind of just got along in general, unless you were just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But, like, there was no nerd group versus cool kids versus jocks.
There was a stoner group.
There was a stoner group. Yeah. But I think every high school has that. But those kids were generally, like, okay.
Yeah.
They would just kind of cheat off you on tests, and they'd be, like, chill.
And chew tobacco in class.
Oh, gross.
It was so gross, yeah.
Like, it was, like, those kids. But, like, they're not mean. They're just, like, ugh, weird.
Yeah.
But... yeah, it's like one of those things, and there was like no bullying, but then there's just shitheads.
Yeah.
Like, there's no bullies, but there's just people like this who are like, dude, what are you doing? Like, like, why are you being like this? It's so much easier to just be nice, or at least just don't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I think is like really good about Brother Rice, or maybe just, I don't know if it's Brother Rice or all guys schools or whatever, but there was no real bullying problem. Unless, like, the only thing is if you made yourself, like, a target. Like, and that's not saying, like, there's some people who are, like, more targeted than others in general. But if you were, like, just trying to instigate, yeah, there'd be problems. But, yeah, in general, there really wasn't. But we should probably talk about the fact that after we graduated, there was a teacher from our high school who,
He was murdered
by a prostitute,
and he was murdered, or according to the news story, he was murdered because he picked up a prostitute. She rendered services.
Yeah,
and he refused to pay her, and she got so.
She gave him the old Santa Claus.
Yeah. And so she gave him services, and he did not pay, and she got mad.
And stabbed him.
No. Here's the thing. He picked up the knife first and threatened her.
Yeah.
And she overpowered him and turned the tables.
Yep.
And that's how he went.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
That happened after we graduated. That was probably our sophomore year of college.
No, it was our freshman year.
Oh, it was freshman year of college? Yeah. So I remember that happening, and my dad sent me an article. I was like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, honestly, could have guessed it.
Yeah. And we had a new teacher my senior year. I don't think you ever had her. We're going to call her Mrs. Jones. She was really young, and she was a computer science teacher.
Yeah, I never had her, but I don't know, I knew her, like, in passing.
Yeah, she was really cool. And since she was new, and she was probably, like, a grad student, realistically, she was probably, like, 27 or 26. And we asked her, we're like, hey, what do you think about Mr. Farnsworth, is what we'll call the teacher who got murdered. And this is before he got murdered, because we were still in school. And she's like, yeah, I mean, I'm faculty here, so I can only, like, say so much about, like, my other colleagues. And we're like, do you feel like he's going to eat your face and soul and murder you? She's like, yeah, he's a little odd. And then we're like, okay, cool. At least other teachers are on the same page as like the students thinking this guy is way weird.
This guy,
he would like throw staplers at students.
Yeah, he would definitely abuse his power as a teacher. He once gave a kid a detention because he thought he looked ugly, and I'm not like,
no, this is a real thing.
Mr. Farnsworth gave what's his name a detention for being ugly. Like, no, I'm being serious. Like, he took a piece of paper, like the slip, wrote everything down, what the so-called grievance was, and then sent the kid to the dean's office with that piece of paper.
And I remember Doc and then the other dean were both really cool. I had them as teachers at different points in my high school career, and I just remember this teacher, Mr. Farnsworth, had given me a detention for something like that when I was a runner, giving a paper slip. He's like, you were supposed to be here 4 minutes ago. Here's like a Saturday detention. And I never got a detention all through high school because I'm fucking geek.
Yeah.
But I remember I went down to the dean's office with this. I'm like, hey, Doc, I just ran this letter to you to Mr. Farnsworth, and I just got a detention. And he looked at it. He just like ripped it in half, and he's like, I guess I won't be seeing you on Saturday. And he's like, have fun, have a nice day. And I'm just like, cool, this teacher holds no power here.
Yeah, like, he abused his power so much that it kind of, like, collapsed in on itself, and as a result, he had no power because no one took him seriously anymore.
There was another... Have you seen Big Mouth, the show?
No, not
are you aware of who Coach Steve is?
Oh, yeah.
We had a gym teacher from Lithuania?
Croatia.
He was from Croatia. How old do you think this teacher was?
He at least, like...
Late 60s.
No, I think early 60s.
Okay, early 60s.
He's late 60s now. But...
Yeah. So, he was a genuinely okay guy, except he was fucking insane. Like, he was a gym teacher, and he was a soccer coach. And apparently he was a really good soccer coach. Like, but he was a lunatic.
Yeah.
Like, he would legitimately, for swimming class, I was a lifeguard for the class because I was a lifeguard as my job as well, so I never had to do the swimming classes. And I was on the swim team, so I was like, don't have to get in the pool. But there was times where he threw kickboards at students. And there was times, like, you know those, like, water weights that you use for, like, calisthenics classes that look like a brick? I remember he threw one at a student. He's like, you're not swimming fast enough! Just like, what is happening? And, like, there's him, and then there was another gym teacher we had who was literally a drill sergeant. Coach Yertle the Turtle.
Yeah, he was a literal drill sergeant.
And he would get upset with something in his own life. He's like, you kids are doing push-ups until I'm not sad. And I'd be like, oh, that's fair, I guess. I remember there was a time where there was like, we were doing push-ups, and there was a friend of ours. I'll say his name because I know he listens to this, and I know he probably remembers this because this was definitely more traumatizing for him than it is for me. His name's Desmond. He's a good kid. He's like a music engineer now. Good for you, Desmond. I hope you listen to this. But there was a time Desmond like fell doing push-ups. His like arms gave out, and he's like, "Well, everyone has to do push-ups until Desmond hits 15 push-ups." And we're like, "Was this the Marines? Yeah. What are we doing? We're 14." Like.
Yeah, he actually graded our gym performance. Like, I think I left, if you can believe it or not, I finished my first semester of gym class with like a B-.
Yeah, like, how do you get a grade in gym class?
Yeah.
Like, I remember, oh, another alarm. Sorry, guys. Sorry, it's for the charging on my computer, if you guys can hear that. But there was like, yeah, he graded us on gym. I mean, I feel like, in general, if Brother Rice could have, because they graded on a lot of stuff, I feel like they would have graded us on lunch.
Yeah.
Like, did you know at Brother Rice, I went back last year to give that talk about the film industry and stuff. Mm-hmm. Did you know they moved the wrestling room to the library? And they moved the library?
Where'd they move the library to?
So it's like, you know how the library, the people listening don't give a fuck, but you know how the library is a big L shape? It's a giant room.
Yeah.
So the library is in the front half, and it's like extended out into where like the computer lab is and stuff.
Okay.
It extended, and the wrestling room is in the back.
Oh, okay.
And they opened it up because the wrestling room is next to the weight room now. So they opened up that wall.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it is really. They like changed a bunch.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, they like all the rooms have like Samsung TVs and shit in them. I was like, why didn't we have this? Also because TVs weren't that thin and light when we were in high school. But like, I mean, a lot changes in 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like one of those things in high school. Also, I took German in high school. So I'm going to say this. Why did all the weird kids take German?
Yeah, I know. It really is all the weird kids who take... First of all, like, just for a second, let's completely disregard the fact that weird kids take German. What's the point of taking German at all in the United States?
Because you want to take a language that conjugates the same as English, so you can get away with taking a foreign language in high school to get into better colleges, but also not have to work as hard. Kyle, think smarter. Think the Russell way.
But like seriously, like apparently,
Kyle, didn't you take French?
No, I took Spanish.
Oh,
I took a real language. I took Spanish because I was perfectly aware that
it's the most useful language in the United States.
Yeah, and it isn't German people who are immigrating to the United States by the millions every year.
Yeah, and who are like, it's not German. That's the national second language of our country.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's like one of those things.
Just so you know, just in case someone's gonna sue me, I got that joke from a comedian. It is not mine.
Yeah, that's fine. Who is the comedian?
I honestly can't remember, but honestly, I'm afraid that this comedian would be like, "Hey, that's my joke. He's stealing my material. I'm gonna sue him," because I can't afford to be sued. I can't even afford to live.
Yeah, that's fair. Kyle can't afford a razor. Kyle, okay, I know people can't see this. Kyle, let's talk about your beard.
Okay.
Kyle's beard it's glorious. It is Greek god level beard status right now. Here's my question. Have you found entire slices of pizza in there before? Just buried in this Zeus style beard that has grown upon your face? Because I have a really weird mustache. I have just a mustache.
Ned Flanders is a rapist mustache.
The word is sex pest. But yes.
No, you don't have a rape dungeon. You have a consensual sex basement, yes,
right? Welcome to my consensual sex basement. People are like, oh, that checks out. But yeah, so how long did it take you to grow the
muzzle?
Lush,
this magnificent muzzle of mine. Let's see. I think I started growing it in
high school.
No, I couldn't grow a beard in high school. I started. Well, so here's what I do. I let my beard grow for the winter and then I shave it off for the summer because I like, feeling the warm breeze of summer upon my face.
Yeah.
Whereas in the winter, I need to shelter my delicate baby cheeks from the harsh cold wind. Because I don't, I have a beard. I don't shave. My skin is the farthest thing from leather you can imagine.
Yeah.
But no, I think I started growing it maybe early October. At first it was just oh man, I gotta shave. But then after a while I'm like, I'm committing to this again. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna start growing it now. Honestly,
it's a good look. It really is. I do like it. I want to show you this picture of this and this. This is someone's mom, and this is Willem Dafoe. Isn't the resemblance uncanny? This is one of my professors from Purdue, and that's Rip Torn.
Wow, that was a great segue.
Sorry, I just wanted to show you because I was looking through my pictures because I thought I had a picture of you from high school on here, where we're at the barbecue place we always go to, because that's still my contact picture for you.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, why don't you just show me your contacts then?
Because it's really small here.
Oh.
Contacts. We're going to go to Kyle. I don't want to say your last name.
I found...
See? It's that picture. That's because I took that picture 2012, and that's still my contact picture for you.
Dude, I look like an alien who's having trouble fitting in with humanity, and on top of that, he picked up a really bad bowl cut wig at the wig store.
Yeah, the planet you were programmed on didn't teach you about planet Earth.
Yeah, nowadays I look like if Harry Potter had given up on his life.
Yeah, if he's
lived as a hermit instead of destroying Lord Voldemort.
He's like, fuck these Horcruxes, I'm gonna live inside this weird tent thing that turns into a mansion.
No, not even that. I just have a regular tent that I got at Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah. Have you ever been into a Bass Pro Shop?
No, I want to, though.
There's a really big one in...
it's not in Indiana, but it's on the way to Indiana from where we are, right?
Yeah, I drive past it when I go back down to Purdue to visit my friends.
Yeah, I drive past it when I go to visit my sister in Michigan.
Yeah, I want to go in there.
Yeah,
they have, crazy shit in there. You can buy a boat.
Like a pontoon boat?
Yeah, you can buy a pontoon boat there. And for those of you who don't know, I drive a Jeep. That doesn't make me cool or anything, I'm just saying. But
then why bring it up?
Because I can buy a pontoon boat and trailer it out of there because it can tow it.
Okay.
That's why I said that. It's yeah. Kyle, are you driving the car today that's the same color as your shirt?
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle's wearing a turquoise shirt and his car's the exact same color.
By the way, you asked me about finding slices of pizza in my beard before. No, but I have, what I'll do is that I'll eat popcorn before I go to bed, and I'll wake up with popcorn chunks in my beard.
Kyle, do you eat food in bed?
Yeah.
That is one of the...
Dude, look at the way I'm dressed.
We're dressed the exact same!
No, turquoise shirt, and it's a plain shirt, with a pocket square on the chest. I'm wearing fucking sweatpants.
Are they Kirkland brand? Because those are the comfiest.
No, these are, what are they?
Oh, Kyle's taking his pants off.
Yeah, I got
That's how you know it's a good podcast. When Kyle starts taking his pants off during the show.
I think it's Puma. Puma.
Oh, hey, I'm wearing Puma. You dick!
Okay, so I'm wearing Puma sweatpants. I've got an unshaven beard. I haven't got my hair cut in like 8 weeks. Does it really look like I'm still holding on to the dreams I had in high school?
You know what? That's fair. That's incredibly fair. I look like...
And I work in the store we work at. I mean...
Oh my god. Oh. Here's our weekly segment. This is Russell and Kyle's...
Day job?
Day job corner. I hate all of them. Yeah. Did they talk to you about, like, them losing money in the register? And they can't count?
Yeah, they confronted me. So, the thing is, they pointed their finger at me first, because I actually did make, kind of not a huge fuck up, but a big enough fuck up on the register before. But, I told the boss, I'll be more, observant about what I'm doing, and I did, and I know for a fact I did not make any mistakes, and yet I was the first person they went to.
Yeah, and then they, went to me, and they were, trying to have me out you, and then the other person who works there, the other two people, they're like, do you know anything? And I'm like, dude, no, I don't even deal with people, I just fix shit here. I'm literally your IT guy. No. And then it's and then they were going through all this stuff, and I didn't say anything because they're my boss, and I'm not about to overtread my bounds or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm you guys can't do math. Do you not see that these numbers are actually adding up? You're just not calculating the rest. You're not calculating the credit card as well. Yeah. You said the credit card ring out for the last 2 days is, let's say, $2,000, and let's say this is this, and you're missing $2,000. Do you not add them together?
Yeah.
There's sometimes I look at people and I'm I feel bad sometimes. I'm damn, I wish I could be better at this. I wish I could be better at that. I wish I could everyone has those moments. And then you meet people like this and you're you know what? Shit's not that bad.
Yeah.
I'm not this stupid. As dumb as I sound on this podcast at times, I'm oh, thank God I'm educated, and thank God I'm not the dumbest person. Did you know our boss, our boss's dad, was being investigated for a murder?
What?
Yeah, I think he listens. David, who works with us, told me that, and he pulled stuff up about it. Seriously, he was being investigated for an actual murder. Jesus. Because he was one of the last people to see this individual alive, and all this other stuff. Yeah, it was a whole big deal apparently, 15 years ago.
Oh man.
That doesn't surprise me either, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Kyle and Russell bitching about work again. This is a reoccurring topic.
Yeah.
Until that place explodes. There was one time,
figuratively explodes. We don't want the FBI knocking on our door.
Yeah, no, yeah, there's just, I don't understand. Maybe it's because our boss is a drama queen a bit, but how can someone complain that much about everything?
Yeah,
all the time and hate everybody.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
If I lived with that much hate in my heart, I think I'd go crazy.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, one sec. What's my last anecdote? Did you ever take art in high school?
No, I didn't.
That class was awesome. What? Okay, here's my last question before we end the show. Before we give our recommendations for what people should read, watch, do, or listen to before the next episode. What was your favorite class and least favorite class from high school?
Oh, man, that's tough. Why don't you go first? I need time to think.
I think my least favorite class in high school, the teacher for the class was amazing. His name was Mr. Latier. It was AP English, English literature my senior year, because I like history and English. But the class itself, he didn't design. The teacher who was there before him designed it, and it just did not work. So it was just really, counterintuitive stuff. And it just, you didn't learn a lot. But he was a really cool teacher, and we, read Beowulf. And, it just structurally didn't make sense. But it was a cool class, but I just didn't like it. But I liked him a lot. And our friend Dick was in the class. And it was a cool class. And then my favorite of all time was probably art, because we didn't do anything ever, and we just listened to music and watched TV shows and then just drew. and it was amazing. It was like ASMR the class.
Oh, nice. For me, I think my least favorite class was chemistry. Like,
who was your chemistry teacher?
He was one of the brothers. Brother T.
Really?
Him. Yeah. And true Brother T was an incredible ball buster because he was like an old fashioned brother like that.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't. He didn't do anything that made the class bad. It's just not only am I terrible at math, I'm terrible just like at chemistry in general. I legit like have a learning disability that only applies to math.
That's like a real thing.
Yeah. It's not dyscalculia, and for those of you who don't know, dyscalculia is dyslexia except exclusively with number. It's not dyslexia. It's just like,
as someone who's dyslexic, I feel for you.
Yeah. I just have some kind of I just am mentally incapable of doing math, and it's true. Like very simple equations. I have no clue, man.
Yeah. It's like. With 2 + 2, or I'm going to kill you. Dude, you better kill me, because this is going to be a really long day.
I'm being dead serious. Like, no. I use a calculator on my phone at work whenever I'm giving out change to people.
Oh, no, same.
Because we have, like, the really old-fashioned, cash register that doesn't calculate change very well.
Hey, good thing I'm a master's of science and I have to do math all the time.
The funny thing too is that I have a bachelor's of science as well.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
With one of the science classes being physics.
Yeah.
So yeah, chemistry, because I was very bad, and this is confession time. I'm not Catholic, and so I never did confession. So this will be my confession. I actually cheated on one of his tests.
Really?
But I got caught. And I got a 0 on the test, and he was kind of like being passive aggressive because he caught me, right?
Yeah.
And then when he handed back the test, he stapled my cheat sheet to it.
That's pretty fire. That's savage.
Yeah, and I think it was his Christian duty as a brother that he didn't fail me. And I felt like such a piece of garbage. I actually went up to him after class one day. And I told him, look, Brother T, he has a real name. I'm just going to call him Brother T in case he's still alive. I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm really, really sorry that I did what I did. He goes, yo, don't worry about it. I'm like, wait, what? Are you? Because, again, this was a teacher who was, like, a complete ball buster. It was and he just shrugged it off. Yeah, you're not, I'm not giving you a second chance on this, but, hey, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's like, that's kind of how Brother Ice was. It's like, I'm not going to give you a second chance, but I'm also not going to hate you. Like, we've all been, in high school. We all get it.
Yeah.
We all try to pull shit on each other. And, it's not cool to do, but, you live and you learn.
Yeah, exactly. And, again, him, stapling my cheat sheet to my test was, the ultimate flex.
Yeah, it's the ultimate savage move to be like, oh, yeah, I caught you, and here, I'm going to rub it in.
Yeah.
Where it's they're not being mean, but it's like, I fucking got you, dude.
Yeah. But my favorite class, it was probably my English class. I'm a good
teacher.
I'm gonna call her Mrs. D. She was married to the other chemistry teacher that was. I still. When I worked at my other job, I actually saw her a lot. It was a big retailer, and so I actually saw her quite frequently, post high school. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna call her just Mrs. D, and I wasn't an outstanding, I'm pretty good at English, and by my standards, as a college graduate, I only did maybe just below par in her class, but I just loved her though.
Yeah.
She was really strict, and it's really weird. She was really strict, but also somehow just so damn likable.
Yeah. That's true. There's a lot of teachers like that who are strict but really likable, and that made a lot of the shitty classes really good. But my chemistry teacher was Mr. W, the track coach, who was the biggest pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
That was, he was cool with me because I'm, kind of a nerd, and I, actually just tried. But, he was one of those teachers that would find your biggest insecurity and point it out in class. And, I remember at Brother Rice, you're not allowed to be on your phone, right?
Mm.
And I was, I had my phone next to my leg, and he saw me through a window in another class, and he sniped me. And I remember he's like, He's like, I'm not going to say my last name, but people called me by my last name more than my first name in high school, but I'll just say, like, Russ, because it's my first name. And he's like, give me your phone. And he didn't give it to the dean, but in class later that day, he gave it back. He's like, don't let me see that shit again. And I'm like, damn, like, that was pretty fire of you. Like, that's an ultimate flex when you do that to a student. You're like, there's a teacher we had who was bald named Mr. D.
Okay.
Did you know that he threw a kid's phone out the window? He had... So there's a kid in our class named Shaquille. He's like, hey, Shaq, go to the back and open the window. He's like that, and he had this kid's phone.
Not Mr. Dudley, a different Mr. D, right?
Yeah, Mr. D. Who's kind of like a football player looking guy.
Okay.
Really nice guy. His kids went to Brother Rice.
Mm-hmm.
And the name of the kid who he took the phone from is the same name as someone who plays Austin Powers and who plays as a serial killer. This kid, who is...
yeah.
Who is literally like if a human ball sack became a person.
Yeah.
He took this kid's phone. This kid was a piece of shit. He just tossed it out the window into a courtyard. And the kid's like, what the hell? And he's like, well, your parents are on our emergency call list, so if you need to call them, we have their numbers.
Wait, whose phone did he throw out the window?
His initials are MM.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And his teeth were like brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just like did this. He like lined it up like almost like you're gonna throw like a hatchet. And he just like straight out the window on the second floor, like onto the courtyard, and the phone exploded. And we're just like, holy shit. And that's like kind of like the Brother Ice thing. It's like if you send your kids to Brother Ice, you know that like it's going to be like that kind of a little bit old school Catholic education where they would never hurt you or actually hit you, but they kind of like half smack you on the back of the head, like stop being a shithead, and you're like, yeah, I deserve that. Like, but they would never do it to be unfair. They would never do it to be mean. But they're like, stop being a dick.
Yeah.
There's teachers who literally told me to stop being a dick, and I'm like, that's fair.
Yeah, I deserve that.
Yeah, like that's 100% fair criticism. But yeah, I can only imagine what it would be like, because I've seen like movies about normal high school that, oh my god. See, they should make a Superbad, but from an all-boys high school perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would be the funniest thing ever.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, that's the thing. Kyle, do you have any recommendations for people to watch or read or do something?
The movie's called, Is It a Beautiful Day or a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood? It's about
a beautiful day.
Okay, it's about Mr. Rogers, but also not really. Tom Hanks plays as Mr. Rogers, and the movie is about and apparently in like 1998, a guy who writes for a magazine wrote like an editorial about Mr. Rogers, and the movie is about how he wrote it, or like the circumstances that led him to writing this really well received editorial about Mr. Rogers. And it's definitely worth the money and worth forming your own opinion about. It's not like Tom Hanks' like best performance, and it like the movie as a whole isn't really that Oscar worthy. But again, I think it's worth watching and forming your own opinion of.
Oh, definitely. I really want to go see it. But since I knew it wasn't just about Mr. Rogers, that's why I didn't like rush out and see it like day one. But after your like recommendation as well, I'm like, you know what? It does sound like it is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really, really good recommendation. I think mine would be a show I just started watching this week that's been out forever. It's Star Wars: The Clone Wars. What I started watching because Kyle and then my other buddy Jake, who's been on the show, both kind of were like, dude, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this. And I finally, so to speak, like caved in and started watching it like 6 years too late. But it's...
well, that's good because all the episodes are all the episodes are already done. You can just binge them.
Yeah, and like they're pretty quick read or quick
watches.
Yeah. They're really quick watches. Like you can bomb through a bunch of them if you're a binge watching kind of individual.
It really it's. I don't know if you've or how well you remember the TV show Justice League, but Justice League. Yes, there were like 30-minute episodes, but they were always. Episode 1 part 2, episode 1 part episode 1 part 1, episode 1 part 2. Yeah. So it wasn't episodes, but it was definitely storylines or story arcs, and it's the same principle as the Clone Wars.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But yeah, I really love it. And I did love Justice League because I watched that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I know all of them are on, like, Hulu, aren't they?
Yeah. I watch them as an adult. Like, watching all of the, like, it's weird. Bruce Timm gets all the credit for, like, being, he only, like, he wrote a bunch of episodes, but, his full focus was the art style, so I think I love Bruce Timm, but I think it's a little unfair to the other creators of the show, but, the Bruce Timm, like, universe, DC universe, and so that includes, Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, and then Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
And, like, for the past maybe, like, 2 or 3 years, I've watched them once, I don't know, maybe, like, every 12 to 18 months or something like that.
Yeah.
It is so awesome. It really is.
Yeah, I really want to get into those again. I watched, what was it, Flashpoint and all of those, like the movie ones recently, within the last 8 months. They're fantastic. And
totally.
I, as a filmmaker myself and someone who's in a master's degree for, like, film, I genuinely do not like when people say cartoons are just for kids. I mean, yes, some cartoons are geared towards children, but so are some live action movies.
Yeah, and you know what? I always, I'm almost 25, and I will admit, I'm like, man, I'm a 25-year-old guy, and here I am watching.
Your birthday's in like 2 weeks.
It's 3 days. It's on Sunday.
Oh shit, it is. Yeah. Wait. Oh yeah, it's January.
Yeah. But anyway, and so like I do admit, I'm like, man, I'm 25 years old, and I'm watching cartoons, I'm watching animated shows, but the way I like counter that argument is like, dude, remember, it was adults who came up with and wrote this down.
Exactly.
So that's why, like, saying cartoons is and you know what? There's a really great quote from Stan Lee too, or I think I got it from the internet. So I mean, I don't know if Stan Lee actually said it, but whoever wrote it down, like it is a powerful quote. And Russell, you talk about stuff while I find it.
I have your birthday present in my room.
Oh Jesus.
Good. Thank God you told me it was January, because for some reason we talked about it at the beginning of the show. Because for everyone, Kyle's birthday is January 5th.
Oh great, thanks.
Kyle, at least, yeah, okay, my birthday's in like 8 weeks. Or my birthday's in like 9 weeks. But it's one of those things where I genuinely 25 seems like it's gonna suck. I already have so much gray hair, and like people are like, oh, 25, you're almost old. I'm like, you can go fuck yourself. At least Kyle doesn't have any gray hair. Kyle, you're not losing hair either, are you?
No. Baldness is not a gene in my family, thankfully.
That's really good. But yeah, did you find the quote?
Yeah, I found the quote. Again, I don't know if Stan Lee actually said it, but it's still a good quote to learn. It says, I used to be embarrassed because I was just a comic book writer while other people were building bridges or going on medical careers. And then I began to realize entertainment is one of the most important things in people's lives. Without it, they might go off the deep end. I feel that if you're able to entertain people, you're doing a good thing.
Can you send that to me?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's an incredible quote. It's a good thing to leave on as we do entertain people, hopefully. But those are both our recommendations. Try to watch them if you do. I don't ever really recommend you getting stuff for free online, like pirating it, because people do put a lot of time and effort and love into these things, and pirating it is a little bit of a slap in the face. But if that is the only way you can afford to watch it, there are ways to watch it online or on YouTube. But yeah, that's my stance on it, because someone asked me recently, what's your opinion on pirating stuff? If that's the only way you can physically afford to watch something and absorb that kind of media, I guess that's the way you have to do it. But if you have the means to, or you can leech off someone else's Netflix account or something, do that. But until next time, thank you for listening. Kyle will be back on the next episode. Anything to say, Kyle?
Excelsior.
Excelsior, dick butt. Okay, bye. Oh, wait, no, it's not off. Okay, now bye.